Good afternoon, one and all. So today we are going to talk about the cryptography. So cryptography is a basic concept of encryption and decryption process. So this is the additional level of a security added to the data. So whenever we are trying to send a data from sender to receiver, so this cryptographic technique is being used to protect that data. So in this presentation, we are going to discuss about the concept of encryption and decryption process. So in this encryption decryption process, we are going to see one of the algorithm. There are many algorithms has been used, but most popularly has been used nowadays. One of the algorithm RSA that we are going to see in this presentation. So first, we are going to see the outline of the cryptography. So in this presentation, first we are going to see about what is meant by cryptography and what are the goals of the cryptography. And we are going to see some of the basic terms about the in cryptography, that we use some basic terms called encryption, what is meant by encryption and decryption, and what is meant by plain text and what is meant by the ciphertext, that we are going to see in this section. And the next we are going to see about the categories of categories in cryptography. There's a two categories that we are going to see about asymmetric and asymmetric. And next we are going to see about the encryption and decryption, basic concepts of encryption and decryption using the block diagram. So I will explain it in very simple so that you can easily able to understand. And next we are going to see one of the algorithm that I told, that's the RSA algorithm, is most widely used nowadays. Most of the companies like Microsoft and Nokia companies are using this same algorithm today. So we are going to see about the RSA algorithm, and I'm going to demonstrate with the mathematical functions, and we are going to see how we are encrypting and decrypting a letter. So that I will just demonstrate in that section. And next we are going to see about the hash function. So using this hash and the digital signatures, so how we are basically encrypting the data and decrypting the data, so we are going to see in this section. And next we are going to see about the applied cryptography. So one of the applications that we are going to see about the email application, so how we are composing, how we are sending to the receiver side, and what happens with the block diagram. I will explain very simple, so that you can able to understand the whole process of what is asymmetric and symmetric encrypting and decrypting process. So that will tell you in this section. So next we are going to see the conclusion of the cryptography. So at the end of this presentation, you will have some basic ideas about the cryptography, so all about the encryption and decryption process. Okay, so first we are going to say about what is cryptography. Cryptography is basically derived from a Greek word called crypto, meaning hidden, and graphene, meaning writing. So hidden writing, that means the data has been hidden and we are sending to the receiver side. All right. So cryptography is nothing but the conversion process of the plain text message into a meaningless text. A meaningless text is nothing but the cipher text. So cipher text. So you can call it as cipher text also, and vice versa. Vice versa means, so again on the decryption process, we are converting this cipher text into the plain text. So this is a cryptography concept, and cryptography is mainly used in many applications like a banking transaction, computer passwords, and e-commerce transaction. Also, it provides a security purpose. It ensures the CIA, CIA, along with that non-reputation. These are the main goals that we are going to see. Okay. So next slide, we are going to see about the goals of the cryptography. What are the main goals of, in order to achieve confidentiality, integrity, non-reputation, and authentication? So basically we used to call it as a CIA and non-reputation. So confidentiality is nothing but, so only the right person have authorization to access the resources or information or the data. So that ensures the confidentiality. So none of the person who are not authorized person cannot access the data. So that ensures the confidentiality. And then integrity is nothing but, you know, the data has not been altered while in the transit. Transit means transmitting from one place to the another place, or if it is stored in a database, the data is while at rest. So the data has not been modified, that is not altered. So using the hash function digital signature, we ensure the data integrity. Okay, so that we will see later. And then non-repetition is not, means like the sender or creator cannot deny that he didn't send a message to the receiver side. So that is a non-repetition. So even for every event, log event that has been recorded in every system, so this data has been sent to a receiver side, that has been just logged, that has been captured in the log event. So that is nothing, concept is the non-repetition. And then authentication. So authentication is nothing but identifying the sender and the receiver. It's all about the using the digital signatures. We are going into see in a little bit in that slide. So the it ensures the authentication, identifying the users, identifying the receivers. Okay, so that's the main goal of the cryptography. If it ensures these confidentiality, integrity, and the authentication, then the data transmission is securely transmitted from one place to another place. That's a basic concept of the cryptography. Okay, and so we are going to see in the next slide the basic terms. So what is plain text? Plain text is nothing but the message that we type on the user side. So only the user side can able to read this plain text. Before sending it to the encryption algorithm, so it considered as a plain text. But when it is reached the encryption algorithm, so the plain text has been converted into a cipher text. So that's called as a cipher text. Cipher text has been encrypted, so which you can't able to read the information. Even the hackers cannot able to understand that cipher text. And the encryption and decryption process. So encryption is nothing but conversion of a plain text to cipher text. That's the encryption process. Decryption process is nothing but conversion of cipher text to plain text. So this happens on the transmitting side. And yeah, this one transmitting side, and this is from the receiving side. Okay, so this happens in the transmitting side, and this one happens in the receiving side. Okay, so next we are going to see the encryption and decryption process, the basic concept of encryption and decryption. So if a sender want to send a message, okay, to the receiver side, so before sending this letter B into the network, this considered as a plain text. This is a message actual. Okay, so I'm just taking as a letter B. Okay, so now we are in before sending into the network, the sender, using the encryption algorithm, he used to encrypt this data. Now it becomes as a cipher text. Say for example, it becomes like H, it transforms into H letter, and then it sends to the network. And in the receiver side, so this is the transmitter side, and this is the receiver side. Okay, so on the receiver side, so this H will be decrypted and converted into a plain text. So now the H has been converted into plain text, that is B. Okay, on the receiver side, so receiving the message, that is B. All right, so this is the basic concepts of encryption and decryption process. Okay, so now we are going to see the next slide, categories in cryptography. So categories in cryptography, we have two categories, that is symmetric key and asymmetric key. Symmetric key, we are using a private key. So both the sender and the receiver, they share their private key. Sender and this is the receiver. Okay, so both the sender and receiver, they used to share a private key. So there's only one key has been used between the sender and the receiver. Okay, so using this private key, they used to encrypt the plain text, and then they will send to the network. So if you see here, let me show you. So this is a ciphertext. You can't able to read this data, you can't able to understand this data. So even the attacker tries to break this algorithm, he can't able to break this algorithm only if we give a strong encryption. Okay, so this the ciphertext would be like this. Even the hackers or the attackers, they can't able to read this message. So now on the receiver side, we're using the same private key. Here's the same secret key. This is called as a private key. Using this private key, we are going to decrypt this message and we are going to receive the plain text. Okay, you understood? So this is a symmetric key. Now we are going to see about the asymmetric key. Asymmetric key is nothing but both the sender and the receiver have a pair of combination of public and private key. Sender and this is a receiver. Okay, so both they will have the public, their own public key and private key. Okay, so if a sender want to send a message to the receiver means, so first the sender will encrypt the plain text using the receiver's public key. This is the receiver public key. Now this public key exposed to the every users in the network. Okay, so every user cannot access this information because they don't have the secret key. It has been encrypted using the particular receiver public key. So therefore the particular receiver only can able to unlock this data using the secret key. Okay, so this is a concept for the asymmetric encryption process. Okay, so there's the advantage and disadvantage in both the categories. So the advantage of this symmetric key is faster. Okay, and the disadvantage, I would say, it's a lesser secured transmission. Sorry, yeah, lesser secured. And the advantage of this asymmetric key is more secure. Okay, this is advantage, and the drawback is it's more complicated. It's more complicated.